We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience. To the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down, we have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth, and we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Right Side Patriots on CPR Worldwide Media.
We the people.
And how about that? Just like that, we're on the air. Right Side Patriots, Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot with Diane Sorey from the Patriot Factor. And boy, folks, we're glad you're with us today. You have joined us on a great Wednesday show because we've got special guest Jim Garrow from the Alphabet, a former Alphabet secret, double top secret agent operative. Jim Garrow, Dr. Jim will join us a little bit later in the show today. Diane, how are you?
I'm really good. You can tell. Listen.
Oh, any show that starts with a bugle salute is going to be a good show.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. You know, before we really get into things today, we're also going to talk about the decline and fall of the black community today. It's what's been going on. It's approaching absolute sheer insanity. And we just, Diane and I both feel like we need to say something about it. And we've got some statistics in there that will absolutely blow your minds. I mean, absolutely blow your minds. But before we get into any of that, I just got to tell you, Diane, I am so hemmed in here at my desk by boxes now because we're getting ready to make a major move halfway across the country. I can barely move my chair away from my desk anymore.
I know. Here it is. You're boxed in like that. And what do? I send you bathroom porns with pictures of bathrooms that are bigger than most people's houses.
Yeah, we were looking before the show today. We were killing some time, and we were looking at pictures of fancy bathrooms. All right?
Yes.
And there's one that looks like it belongs in King Louis's castle.
Yeah. It was absolutely obscene. And the reason we do this, most people don't know, but by profession, I'm actually an interior decorator. So I'm sort of giving Craig some ideas on their new house.
I'm
But of
telling you,
course,
that
I don't
bathroom
send
is
them normal
insane.
stuff. I don't send them normal stuff. Him and Susan, I send them the most obscene. I mean, bathrooms and kitchens that cost more than most people's homes just to be, a smart aleck. But you know what? You do get ideas, even from these big, giant things that none of us can afford. You can pick up an idea here or there, or a color scheme, or a layout. So we just have fun with it, and we call it porn, like truckers porn and gun porn. But we call it kitchen porn and bathroom porn and living room porn. And last week we did water feature porn.
I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can do, because you do look at stuff and you go, oh, that'd be kind of nice. Maybe I can figure out some way to do that. But I'm telling you, a couple of these bathrooms that Diane sent photos to me, I mean, you couldn't do that in any normal living situation. I mean,
No.
we're talking, obviously the bathroom is one of the most, if you're going to redo a room in your home, the bathroom is about the most expensive room you can redo. That and the kitchen. And this one bathroom, if it cost a dime less than $150,000 to $200,000 just for the bathroom,
Yeah.
I would be absolutely amazed. And like most people, the only time I'm in the bathroom is when I have to use one of the porcelain facilities or if I'm taking a shower.
Yes.
Outside of that, as long as what needs to flush flushes and water comes out of the faucets, I'm good to go.
I think we girly patriots are a little bit different because we do have our chairs and our vanities with all our makeup and hair products and nail products and all that. So we do spend more time in the bathroom than the guys. But this bathroom that I sent him has a couch in it, a settee in it. I mean, this was so over the top. It wasn't even funny. The ceiling was curved and coffered. The woodworking in this bathroom was magnificent.
There was a crystal chandelier. Come on.
Huge crystal chandelier. And this bathroom had appeared in Architectural Digest a couple of years ago. It's not anything new. But when you realize if someone has a bathroom that size, can you imagine what their house is? It's just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
I'm telling you, I mean, it was so over the top, so just insane. It looked like it belonged in Al Gore's house.
Yeah, but you know what? Give me a bag of bugles and a pot of coffee, and I could live in there very comfortably.
I just want a crapper and a place to take a shower and a mirror so I can trim my beard. That's it. That's all I need. Outside of that, I need nothing. But Diane, we got to get to the quick hitters here. Shall we wake up our good friend and moderate Muslim intern, Mohammed Hussein?
Yeah.
Bob, are you there? You have today's quick hitters. You got them loaded on the Intercontinental Ballistic Camel.
Ready to fire up that camel.
Let her rip, Mohammed. And there we go.
Boy, that camel is speedy.
Well, if you had a rocket up your ass, I'm just saying. I'd be beating all hell to get away from it too. Well, look here. Look what's first on the list today. The greenhouse gas bag in chief is going to stop climate change by executive decision.
Yes,
What?
the infamous climate change that doesn't even exist.
He's going to whip out his pen and put an end to climate change, not only here, but globally. I mean,
Yes.
The pen is mightier than the fart, I guess. I mean, what in
In
the world?
Obama's case, yeah. I mean, he's going to EO climate change. I mean, the absurdity of it all is just mind-boggling. There's no such thing as frickin' climate change. It's the weather.
I went outside yesterday, and part of the time it was raining, and then part of the time it was partly sunny, and then it cleared off completely. We had a beautiful sunset, And then overnight, it started raining again. Now, did we just go through like a millennium worth of climate change yesterday, or was it just simply a weather pattern?
Well, if it was my guess, and being that I'm not a liberal, I'd say it was a weather pattern. A front moved through the Grand Canyon area and then moved on out. I mean, come on, people. This is total absurdity.
But with an executive order, he can make it all go away.
Yeah, and this is going to be an international treaty, guys. What he's going to do is he's going to circumnavigate the constitutionally mandated two-thirds majority in Congress rule that's needed to ratify an international treaty. He doesn't care about our domestic treaties. Now he doesn't care about international treaties. When is this man going to be stopped?
Well, and as I understand it, this is coming from the United Nations of thugs, thieves, and despots.
Exactly, or the useless nations, as I call them.
I mean, so he's just going to sign the thing. He's going to give Congress the finger and say this is now the law of the land, which you cannot do. If you look at the Constitution, it says Obama can't do this. They actually put the word Obama in there. 200 years ago, 230 years, it says Obama can't do this. And you know, you can't. You have to have two-thirds of the Senate to ratify an international treaty. And then the treaty becomes the law of the land. But without that, it's nothing.
Yes, yes. And it's just totally unbelievable because here it is, the State Department spokeswoman, Jen Psaki, I guess is how you pronounce her name. She said, and this is a quote, "Our goal is to negotiate a successful and effective global climate agreement that can help address the pressing challenge." Now, climate, they're going to control climate on a global scale. I hate to tell them, but you can't control the weather. These people just don't get it.
You know, actually, it's Jen Psaki.
Psaki.
Yeah, Psaki. The P is silent unless the water is really deep in that bathroom that we were talking about earlier. But, you know, what is he going to, is he going to whip out that pen and sit down at his little desk and have like, you know, I don't know. Who would he have behind him? Because whenever he does something, like, he always has to have a gallery, you know, behind him. But I'm guessing a bunch of Birkenstock wearing leftover hippies.
True.
And he will say, by executive order, I now, as Barack Hussein Obama, king of the planet, mandate that cows no longer break wind.
I mean, this thing is just totally ridiculous. It is a waste of time. He is slapping Congress in the face again, and they're just sitting back, twiddling their thumbs, doing not a damn thing.
Are they even back from vacation yet? Is Congress? They're still out, aren't they?
I think they're still out, and that's why he's going to try to ram this through before. But that's not the point. It's mandated in the Constitution that international treaties need two-thirds approval. So he's going to circumnavigate our Constitution again. And even when they come back, they're not going to do a damn thing about it because he is America's first black president. And we don't want to upset the sensibilities, or there might be riots like they are in Ferguson.
Do you know?
I mean, this.
Do you, man, do you know what would cut down on a lot of the pollution right now? If Obama would quit burning the Constitution.
Yeah,
that would cut down on
so.
a lot of it. But, you know, you said something a minute ago about, you know, a slap in the face. Let me tell you who needs a slap in the face.
Oh,
Lois Lerner.
Oh, yes.
Lois Lerner is back in the news. Now, she of the, oh, my hard drive crashed. She of the, oh, I don't know what happened to my emails. She of, oh, I plead the fifth. We now find out that her BlackBerry was deliberately destroyed after the investigation began.
Yes, absolutely. And the date is very critical. It was June 2012. That's when ex-IRS official Lois Lerner had already been summoned before congressional staffers who interviewed her about reports of the IRS targeting conservative groups. So immediately when that happened, her BlackBerry was wiped clean. What is she hiding? Well, we know what she's hiding.
Oh, yeah.
Lois Lerner needs a orange jumpsuit or stripes. Being a woman will give her her choice, what she's more feels more attractive in, stripes or orange. But that woman needs to be in a federal penitentiary immediately, along with anyone that has supported and covered for her, and that includes our beloved BHO.
You know, the idea that, you know, first of all, the idea that her hard drive would crash along with the hard drives of 6 other key people in the investigation is 1 in a billion. Actually,
Yes.
it's like 1 in 7 billion, because I figured
Yes.
it out. Then the idea that, oh, we can't find the emails. We actually recycled the hard drive. Yeah, right. Sure you did. First of all, emails aren't stored on your hard drive.
Correct.
Okay? Then they said, well, we can't find the backup tapes because we only hold those for 6 months. Now, about, 4 or 5 days ago, it came out that, well, you know, yeah, we know where the emails are, but it's just too much trouble to go and get them. So I said, well, give us the woman's BlackBerry. Oh, well, you can't have that because we wiped that right after the investigation started. This is insane, folks. I mean, the most transparent administration in history is involved in an IRS cover-up.
Yes. And you know what? Jay Sekulow, the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, summed it up pretty well. He said, if you intentionally destroy evidence, that is a crime. If you make a statement in court saying the evidence is not available, and it is, that is also a crime. So, Lois, I think you better start measuring, you know, yourself for either the orange jumpsuit or the stripes, because one way or another, you're going to be seeing some jail time.
I start with her and just work your way up the ladder. I mean,
Yep.
put them all in jail. You know,
Yes.
as far as I mean, for God's sakes, you know, we know those emails exist. Give the emails to the House committee. Give them over. Turn them over.
Well, they're afraid to, because, you know, they're going to show her signing off on Obama's brother with his terrorist supporting group DAWA. They're probably going to show him, her signing off on his order about his grandmother's, the Sarah Foundation. They're going to show that. They're going to show the blanket no confirming Tea Party or patriotic groups. This is bigger than Lois Lerner. This goes all the way to the White House. They would not be wiping the slate clean if it didn't.
Well, and see, Obama burned his executive privileges when he covered up Fast and Furious, and that
Yes.
stuff is going to be coming out now, too, because federal court, well, we'll wait and see. One federal court says you got to turn it over. You got to turn this stuff. And they gave Holder until October 1st.
Correct.
He
Correct.
has to have this stuff turned over by October 1st. And not only the unprivileged information, but all the privileged information too. So now, and trust me, we're going to keep an eye on how this proceeds, because now we've got the whole Fast and Furious thing is going to come back and bite Obama in the keister. And we've got the IRS thing that is literally falling apart on him. They do so much work. They try so hard to cover this stuff up. And then it just all goes to pot. Well.
Yep. Well, you know what? It goes to pot. The White House chef can put it in the brownies for Obama.
Well, he's already making crack pies.
That's true. So a little pot pies wouldn't, pot brownies would fit right in.
You know, if you're hungry, folks, head over to Burger King. I'm just saying they're doing something that normally I would look at and go, oh, come on, really? But Burger King is throwing in, it looks like, I mean, I guess the dotted line has not been signed yet, but they're awfully close to it. They're going to throw in with a Canadian donut company.
Yes.
And who doesn't like donuts and flame-broiled burger? Well, you don't like flame-broiled burgers, Diane, but
No.
I'm telling you, this is a brilliant move, because by law, a corporation such as Burger King, they have to do whatever they can to cut their tax bill on behalf of the people that hold stock in their company. And what they've looked at is, you know what, the corporate taxes in this country are sky high, about the highest in the world, to be perfectly honest. So they're looking to throw in with this Canadian company and move the Burger King headquarters to Canuckville.
Well, you know what's really funny about all this? Well, it's not funny. Of course, now you have the Democrats railing against this merger. In fact, Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown says Americans should now start eating only at Wendy's and White Castle, while Republicans say, and they are right, this is proof our corporate tax code is driving business away. And that's very, very true. Our rates are sky high. We are not business friendly. We're not small business friendly anymore under Obama. We're not large corporation friendly under Barack Hussein Obama's policies. Bottom line is, it's Barack Hussein Obama. We change him, we can change everything else and bring back what's left our country and bring them back to our country. But this is just amazing. Burger King is one of a list of many companies that have left.
Well, and those who are preparing to leave. But you look at Burger King. This is a huge corporation. I mean, there's Burger Kings everywhere. Everywhere you go, you find a Burger King. Usually right across the street from a McDonald's, or down the street from a Wendy's. They all seem to congregate, and people have their preferences. And but Burger King, they're looking at the tax bill they have to pay every year, their corporation taxes. They're saying, you know what, it makes more sense to move the whole outfit up to Canada. Now, they'll still be paying taxes here in the U.S. on everything they sell, on everything they buy here in the U.S. They'll be paying taxes.
Yes.
But the corporate tax, their corporate tax is going to drop so much that it's going to, way offset the other taxes, and they're going to be better off financially and for their shareholders if they move to Canada.
Yeah, and the exact rate is in Canada, the corporate rate is only 15%. In our country, the corporate rate is 35%. We're talking more than double, folks, and the money is going to the government, and guess where the money that the government takes in goes? To the freebies and handouts for the sponges of our country. I don't blame Burger King for moving. I really don't.
No, but I tell you what, I do feel a little sorry for the Canadians, because we've got a lot of good friends up in Canada, a lot of listeners to Right Side Patriots and CPR up there in Canada, and I feel a little sorry for them, because once this deal goes through, they're going to have to deal with that creepy king from the TV commercials. That Burger King guy and the big Burger King head, that thing freaks me out.
Almost like the McDonald's clown, right? They give you nightmares.
Yeah, the McDonald's clown, I don't have a problem with Ronald McDonald, but that Burger King, that thing is, I mean, because it's just one look plastered on his face. It's a plastic head, and he just pops up out of nowhere. I mean, if I saw that, I'd just freak out.
Well, it's kind of like a lot of liberals, they got that blank look on their face, like, huh? We have no clue. So, what can you say? But in all honesty, they are doing the right thing for their company, because we are making our country so business unfriendly. It's not even funny. This is not how America is supposed to be. But this is how America is becoming under this regime.
Well, and finally, Diane, on today's Quick Hitters, we need to let people know Obama is back from Martha's Vineyard, and he is pissed.
Yeah.
He's pissed at Egypt, actually, and for two very separate reasons. Apparently, kind of off the radar, or under the radar, however you want to say it, Egypt went and bombed some terrorists over in Libya.
Yes, and he teamed up with the UAE And they've secretly teamed up, which gets Obama pissed as hell. And they're bombing some areas in Libya, of all places, because terrorists are trying to get control of Tripoli, and they don't want these terrorists. Egypt is the country that has recently come out and outwardly sided with Israel against Hamas.
Now,
and the Brotherhood.
Who
and
was
now,
it?
Egypt is becoming a real player on the world stage.
And who was it that said this was going to happen? Who wrote about this in a series of articles? Who actually said that Egypt is going to go after the terrorists?
You mean me and you?
That's who it was. That's who it was. Well, it makes Obama mad because he didn't get the chance to lead from behind in Libya again.
Yes.
But that's not the only reason he's mad at Egypt either. He's also mad because Egypt negotiated the truce that is still, for the moment, holding between Israel and Hamas.
Yes, and I did my op-ed today on the patriotfactor.blogspot.com on just that. And I did throw a little Craig snarkiness in there. So if you guys get a chance, read it, because I really laid out all the details about this ceasefire that they're now calling a truce, but it's an open-ended truce, meaning Hamas starts up again, Israel is going to really take them out this time. And the big difference is they now have Egypt on their side. The game has changed now, and Obama doesn't like that. But Egypt has a lot of payback to do against Obama, because he caused a lot of the trouble in Egypt when they overthrew Morsi, with throwing his support to the Muslim Brotherhood. So Egypt, payback is a bitch at times, folks, and Egypt is going to really slap him hard. And if you check my article, you'll see who he's also meeting with now, and it's none other than the Russian bear. So Obama is being surrounded, and Egypt will come out ahead.
Well, I mean, picture this, if you will. Obama gets back from vacation. He sits down at the desk in the Oval, and he says, what's been going on while I've been playing golf? And, Valerie Jarrett is standing there, and she says, Egypt opened up a can of whoop-ass on the terrorists over in Libya and secretly was bombing them while you were playing golf. And Obama would be like, what? They can't be bombing my friends.
Yeah, not only his friends, his brethren, his blood brethren. And in Obama's case, the blood is indeed thicker than water. But you know what this all boils down to, why Egypt went on their own? Egypt and El-Sisi are now very highly respected on the world stage. As much as we don't like Putin, what he's doing in Ukraine, he is respected and he is feared. Obama, on the other hand, no country respects. He is a laughingstock. He has made our country a laughingstock. Now, and until he's gone, this is how it's going to be.
Now, let me just say here, we've only got a couple seconds left in this segment, but let me just explain something here to folks, because this is really kind of funny when you think about it. John Kerry, Ketchup Boy, was trying so hard to arrange some sort of peace deal between Israel and Hamas. And Kerry was doing it with the idea that if he got it done, he would get a Nobel Peace Prize just like the one Obama has. And now it looks like if this thing holds, that Peace Prize isn't going to go to Ketchup Boy, it's going to go to El-Sisi.
Exactly. It's going to go probably to El-Sisi and Benjamin Netanyahu. They're probably going to jointly share the Peace Prize this year, although now that I think about it, the Nobel Committee doesn't like Israel at all, so it'll probably just go to El-Sisi. Maybe they'll throw Putin in there. Who knows? But all I know is I'm tired of our country being a laughing stock. I'm tired of our country not having respect on the world stage anymore. And I am especially tired of Barack Hussein Obama.
Well, and Obama and Kerry will be sitting there in the audience at the presentation of the Peace Prize. They'll be sitting there in the back row picking their noses.
Yeah, or taking selfies. They'll be there taking selfies.
Only if the Danish Prime Minister's there.
That's true.
Folks, we got a lot to cover. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the decline and fall of the black community. We've got statistics that are going to absolutely shock and amaze you when it comes to this. So, looking forward to Jim Garrow a little bit later in the show as well. We're going to take a quick break right now, a word from our sponsors and our good friends at Citizens United. Diane and I will be back with more Right Side Patriots after this.
Citigold is an account from a global bank with over 200 years experience, offering international banking expertise across over 100 markets. Your dedicated investment consultant adds a unique personal touch to your banking experience. Complimentary lifestyle offers like Marhaba service and free global money transfers help you save on time and money. At the core of Citigold is your dedicated relationship manager, personally looking after your financial needs. Be it lifestyle privileges like golf, lounge access across the Middle East, or worldwide privileges, Citigold provides you with a rewarding experience. One card is all you need for all your Citibank accounts. As a Citigold client, you benefit from our international expertise and global reach. Citigold is more than an account. It's a personal banking service offering exceptional privileges, customer service and recognition worldwide. So wherever you are, Citigold will be with you.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
I'm just an old black sheep from the family tree. I'm now a vet and a victim of society. Hell, I stood by the gun just to keep us free. Now my own damn country's turned its back on me. You wanna judge me by my leathers and the steel I ride? Well, you don't know me. You need to step aside. Don't tread on me. You don't tread on me. From the Revolution War to the Middle East, I come back to a country that's lost its peace. And now here I stand on the promised land, free and a slave to Uncle Sam. You wanna judge me by my leathers and the steel I ride? Well, you don't know me. You need to step aside. Don't tread on me. You don't tread on me. Well, you think you know me, but you haven't got a clue. I stood and fought so that you would not have to. Don't tread on me. Yeah, don't tread on me. me by my leathers and the steel I ride. Well, you don't know me, you need to step aside. Don't tread on me. Now don't tread on me. Now don't tread on me. Now don't tread on me. Yeah, the old middle east is like a man down. The old W's, K-I-A's, M-I-A. And our 5 young soldiers in a foreign land.
And welcome back to Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the Patriot Factor with Diane Sori from... Wait a minute, I'm not with the Patriot Factor. You're with the Patriot Factor. Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor and me from God knows who where. I don't know, it just all just left me. I mean, the minute I started speaking, it just, you know.
You had brain freeze.
I did.
Had brain freeze.
I had the brain freeze you had the other night when you were eating ice cream.
Oh my God, was that an ice cream rush? Oh, that hurt.
Folks, we got to get into this topic because, you know, we've touched on this. We've talked about racism in the past on Right Side Patriots here. But we really need to get into this because what's been going on, especially with Ferguson in the forefront, has been absolutely disgusting. Now, I did an article today in whatever blog it is that I write. And you'll find it at thenationalpatriot.com. And I wrote about this funeral for this punk, Mike Brown, that is the source of all this stuff that's going on in Ferguson, Missouri right now. And, you know, the whole idea that they would hold this funeral and turn this kid into some sort of hero, some sort of angel, some sort of almost deifying him. Yes. And you'll see the quotes in there. He was the deliverer of divine prophecy, according to his cousin, Eric Davis. You know, because apparently at some family gathering sometime down the road, this guy, this Mike Brown guy, said that someday the whole world would know his name. Well, they do. Apparently, all you have to do to achieve immortality is get shot and killed by a white cop. Yep. And this manufactured biography of this guy that was presented at the funeral was disgusting. And when you see the photos of this guy, and I've got a bunch of them that I've loaded into the article, when you see these photos, this guy flashing gang signs and giving the finger to whoever's taking the picture, and you know, you go, and then you read the quotes from his family and said that, you know, he was a burgeoning Christian and he was deep in his faith in Christianity. The two are diametrically opposed, okay?
Yes.
We know for a fact that he had marijuana in his system. That part of the tox screen came back. So we know he had that. We know, because we've got the video, I've got it in the article, that he robbed this convenience store, stole a pack of Swisher Sweets. And if you don't know what those are these little tiny disgusting cigars.
Yes.
And the only reason that people his age have those things is because they roll blunts in them. And that is when you put marijuana inside the tobacco in the cheap, crappy cigar. And they call that a blunt. So we got a pretty good idea what he was going to do with those cigars that he stole. He strong-arms the clerk. Are these the actions of somebody who is devoutly Christian and is growing in that faith? I don't think so.
No, and then the fact that he ran away from the cops, came back at the cops, ran away from them again, and then according to at least 12 or more eyewitnesses, he started to charge for the cop. Now remember also, this kid was 6'4" and almost 300 pounds. The cop was a regular sized guy, maybe 5'10", 5'11", normal build. You're not going to take someone down that big who's hopped up on drugs with one shot to the arm or to the hand. He tried to stop him, But this kid went down and came back up and charged him again. What was this cop supposed to do?
You know, the investigation is going to find out what really happened on the street in Ferguson that day, but none of that mattered to the people at that funeral. And folks, there were celebrities at the funeral. Sean Puffy, P. Diddy, whatever he calls himself now, Combs, was there. Spike Lee, the movie director, was there. One can only guess that they were there vying for the movie rights.
Well, Spike Lee is a known racist also. He hates whites.
Okay, then, if that's not enough, it was a state funeral because Obama sent 3 representatives directly from the White House to attend the funeral. How many did he send to Margaret Thatcher's funeral?
None.
0. How many did he send to General Green's funeral a couple of weeks ago?
None.
0. But for a black punk that just robbed a convenience store and then in a situation not connected to that winds up getting shot and killed just minutes later, he sends 3?
Yes.
Give me a break. Al Sharpton was there. Jesse Jackson was there.
Black Panthers, the head of the Black Panthers was there.
Eric Holder had been down there a few days prior to the funeral. I mean, folks, it is disgusting. And what you see going on down there, what we saw for 2 weeks, what was the pillaging and the burning and the looting of Ferguson, of businesses, of business owners who had not one single thing to do with Mike Brown or the cop or the incident. Nothing. But you know, these people think they deserve something.
But you know
because
what's
somebody
worse?
they never met got killed. They deserve something.
But you know what's worse, Craig? Lately on the talk shows, late at night, the conservative talk shows, black representatives have been on there, and a few white liberals, saying no matter what, this officer needs to be convicted to set a standard that this cannot happen. White officers can no longer kill our black children. If he is not convicted, there will be riots. In other words, they are using the death of a punk to riot, to loot, to steal. And they want to ruin this officer's life for a justifiable homicide so they don't riot, to keep them in line. We'll placate them. You give up this white officer and there won't be any riots. That's blackmail.
That is blackmail. Now,
that's blackmail.
Let me explain something to you. I put this article up this morning. I did another article on the quote-unquote black community a few days ago. And I had somebody this morning came back to me in social media on Facebook and said, you know, what gives you the right to talk about this because you're a white guy? And the person who sent me that message, who, you know, put that in the comment box, you know, I wrote back and I said, listen, somebody better say something because your community isn't saying anything about this. Now, folks, you got to understand something. You know, all of this that's gone on for the last couple of weeks in Ferguson was a result of one black thug who was shot and killed by a white police officer, okay? Nationwide, 93% of the murders of black people are at the hands of other black people.
Yes.
Black on black crime in this country is way out of proportion. I mean, it's absolutely reached the point of insanity. While the riots in Ferguson were going on, up in Chicago, this was not this past weekend, but I think the weekend before, there were so many shootings in Chicago, 29 people were injured and 7 were killed. And nobody said a damn thing. Nobody said a word. The black community didn't say a word. Jesse Jackson didn't say anything. Al Sharpton didn't say anything. Obama didn't interrupt his golf game to step up to a microphone and say, you know, these killings in Chicago, this is really bad, and then go back to the golf course. Eric Holder did not go to Chicago to launch a civil rights investigation. And the reason for it is, it ain't no big deal. to the people in the black community.
Exactly. Well, folks, I've got a couple of statistics for you that'll actually have you gasping. This shows what is happening in America's black community. In 1950, female-headed households, black female households, were only 18% of the black population. It is now 70% because the black family unit no longer exists. Women are having children by different fathers. Different fathers. They don't marry them. They just have children. And why? To get more money. The more children you have, the more money you get from the state. That's a sad fact. In 1880, 3/4 of black families were nuclear families, and there was very few differences in family structure back then among white and blacks. All of this has started happening in this century when the liberals started taking over, when they start the black guilt. The white people had to feel the black guilt. But here's some more real sad statistics. In 1940, black illegitimacy rate was only 14%. Today, it's well over 70%. And in some major cities, it's over 80%. 80% of black children are born illegitimately. That's so, so sad, folks. And the Census Bureau says the poverty rate among blacks is right now at 28.1%. Those are among the women-headed black households who the children don't have daddies. Now, in a married, intact black family with a mother and a father and their children, it drops to 8.4%. Can you imagine that, folks?
Now,
a family unit can make a difference.
Give those last two again, and so people have a direct comparison. In a single parent, female-headed black household,
right?
The poverty rate is what?
Poverty level is 28.1%.
But in a nuclear black family, a father, a mother, and the kids living together as a family unit, it is 8%.
8.4%. That is totally mind-boggling. And the problem is, you know what? I blame it on those single black women who just want to have babies because they get more welfare checks. They get more food stamps. It's cool. My children all have different daddies. Guess what? That ain't cool. That ain't cool. And those rappers and those supposed black leaders who were saying, oh, these poor this, these poor that. No, they're doing it to themselves.
Now, let me ask, because I know we have people in the listening audience today who are just sitting back right now going, holy crap, are you kidding me? And I guarantee you that some of these are just good, fine, decent, black working Americans. Okay, yes. That are listening to us right now. So let me ask a question here. When you hear those statistics, when you hear that 93% of murdered black people in this country are murdered by other black people, when you hear the poverty figures, 18%, and ballparking here, 18% for single female-driven black households as opposed to 8% for a nuclear family, black. Uh-huh. When you hear the illegitimacy rates in major urban cities, and we're talking about cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, and quite possibly New York City, maybe even Atlanta. When you talk about those big urban areas like that, you're talking about black illegitimacy at 80% plus.
Yes.
Okay. And nationwide, it's over 70%. So yes. When you start hearing those statistics, let me ask the black people of America, the good black people of America, has Jesse Jackson ever come into your neighborhood and said, we got to fix this? Has Al Sharpton said, the illegitimacy rate is just too damn high. We've got to get the black family back together? Has Barack Hussein Obama done anything in 6 years to make the situation better? Has Eric Holder said, you know what, we've got to find out why so many black people are committing crimes and why so many black people are on the street? No, not one of them has ever said anything like that. They don't go where these things are happening. They cherry pick where one black person is life interrupted by a white person, and then all hell breaks loose like it has in Ferguson, Missouri for the last 2 weeks. Folks, it's insane. If you look, we hear it all the time from the civil rights leaders, from the NAACP, from the New Black Panthers, from Sharpton, from Jackson, you name them. You name the black quote-unquote leaders, who I'm telling you right now can't even lead from behind. They couldn't lead a one-car parade. Okay? No. But we hear this all the time from, there's too many black people in prison. The prison population there's too many black people compared to the number of white people in prison. Well, did you ever stop to think maybe that's because there's more black people committing crimes? Did that ever occur to these people? The root of the problem is in the quote-unquote black community. Yes. And I think part of this is because they identify as a black community. If you look at successful black people in this country, and God knows they're out there, there's a lot of them. Everywhere you look, and I'm telling you, success does not necessarily mean wearing a suit and a tie and living in a big fancy mansion. Success is when you reach success in whatever it is you have chosen to do in your life. If you are a restaurateur and your restaurant is successful, you are successful. If you are the guy that works a construction job and you are the best construction worker on your crew, you are successful. You're earning a living. You're paying your bills. You're successful. Okay, it's not just necessarily white collar. It's blue collar. It doesn't matter what color your collar is. And there are successful black people and successful black families and great nuclear black families. They're everywhere. You look around, they're everywhere. Okay. To
put this in a little more perspective, I think you guys need a few more statistics. Like we've said, there are roughly 7,000 blacks murdered each year. And of that, 94% of the time, the murderer is a black person. Yet, blacks are only 13% of our nation's population. Yet they account for more than 50% of homicide victims. Out of those homicide victims, 94% of the killers of the black people are black. Now here's another one. Between 1976 and 2011, there were 279,384 black murder victims. Now think of that number, the 279,000. If you combine the black fatalities during the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and all the wars since 1980, it comes to about 18,500 blacks have been killed in war. That means that a young black male has a greater chance of reaching maturity on the battlefield than he does at home, than he does on the streets of the inner city. And this is very, very upsetting, this statistic.
When you look at this, the biggest problem here, I think, is that people identify themselves as being part of the black community. You don't see successful black people saying, well, I'm part of the black community. They're part of the American community. They have taken advantage of the opportunities that this country allows to each and every American, regardless of color, regardless of religion. These are people who realize that the family is the strongest backbone this nation could ever have. But when you identify, well, I'm part of the black community, you're essentially saying, I'm owed something. Yeah, well, let me tell you what, we don't owe anything. There's no person alive in America today that has held slaves. Not one. We don't. If you want an apology, you go dig somebody up that held slaves, and good luck getting it.
And one very important thing also is the educational system. Everybody says, blacks don't get a fair shake. No. Listen to this statistic. Often black 12th graders, they can read, they can write, they can deal with science and math problems, but guess what, folks? They can only deal with them on a white 6th grade level. That is because they don't have the reinforcement needed at home for their studies. It's because they don't have a cohesive family unit. And like Craig said, where are the black leaders saying you need a mother and a father and you need cohesion? You don't need to have a mother that has 7, 8, 9 children by different daddies. You don't hear that from the black leaders. And that's sad, because think of all the potential that has been lost. Think of what these children could be if they had intact family structure. But the black leaders are not pushing that. They are pushing the mentality of you owe me, gimme, you're entitled to. Like Craig said today, none of us have to feel guilty over slavery, because not one of us alive today ever owned a slave.
Let me tell you something, folks. If you're going to pretend to be a victim long enough, eventually you're going to be a victim. And that's what we've seen in the quote-unquote black community. We've got liberals and black leaders who can't earn a living, who can't exercise control unless the people they're trying to lead or the people they're trying to control believe themselves to be victims.
Yes, it's victim mentality.
You want to know why Jesse and Al and Barack and Eric and the Panthers and the NAACP, you want to know why they don't go into Chicago and start taking care of business in Chicago or Atlanta or Detroit or inner city LA? You want to know why? Because there's no money to be made there, folks. There's no money to be made there, because the only people that are making those people victims are those people themselves. But if you can cherry pick a white guy that kills a black guy, then you can line your pockets. It's disgusting.
And here's something more disgusting. The statistics I quoted you from, many are going to say, oh, she went into different sites and they're white sites and this and that. I'm sorry to tell you, but no. Those statistics came from Walter E. Williams, a black man, a columnist for Town Hall. That shows this man is a black man, and he's appalled at what's happening in his community. Black leaders, the black leaders should be people like this man, Walter Williams, should be Alan West, should be Herman Cain, should be Tim Scott, should be Mia Love, should be Ben Carson. We've got great black leaders in this country, but they are being overshadowed by the haters, by the race baiters, by the black leaders that want to keep their own people down. This mentality has to change.
Yeah, I urge people to go read that article I posted this morning at thenationalpatriot.com. It's all about the funeral of Mike Brown. And if you can explain to me why anybody thinks this kid was some sort of saint, I'd love to hear the explanation, because he wasn't. When you rob, when you steal, when you strong arm a store owner, when you sit there and pose for pictures, flipping the bird and flashing gang signs, you're no saint.
No.
And the fabrication involved in this is, I think, the worst I have ever seen. It goes beyond the type of thing they tried to make Trayvon Martin into.
Yes.
You know, let the investigation play itself out. You know, we've got people in the streets, and I put this in the article, we got people in the streets of Ferguson. They're calling for a whole lot of things. They're calling for the police chief to be fired. He wasn't there. They're talking for the cop that was there to be convicted and put in prison for the rest of his life. And they, you know, they're calling for that. They're yelling for justice, no peace. They're yelling for vengeance. They even called for vengeance at the funeral, of all places. But you know what? I've yet to hear one of them. I've yet to hear one member of Mike Brown's family, a friend that actually knew him, or any of those rioters in the street. I've yet to hear one say they want to know what happened that day. And until they're ready to know what happened, they're never going to change the situation in which they find themselves. Folks, read the article.
The one thing that they're trying to do, it could be summed up very easily. They are trying to make this officer the payback for George Zimmerman being found not guilty. They are trying to do tit for tat. Well, guess what? It doesn't work that way. You know what? If this officer is found innocent, and I believe he is innocent, but if he is found innocent and those people start to riot, every single one who was rioting,
I believe that
needs
every
to be
single one of
arrested.
us has what it takes
to win back-to-back gold.
Ski faster than any other human.
I believe it's possible to overcome fear.
I believe
it's possible to destroy stereotypes.
To start over, to be the toughest,
the strongest,
the bravest in the world.
And when we work together, we can make it all possible. That's why Citi has donated $500,000 to its Every Step of the Way program, an initiative created to help future athletes reach their full potential through sport programs that inspire us.
Like figure skating in Harlem.
Like youth enrichment services. Like Team for Tomorrow.
The Team USA Stay on the Slopes initiative. Now spread the word and help decide how much of that money goes toward
offering personal support and financial assistance to Olympians in need.
Promoting the growth of hockey in the U.S.
Expanding the sport of luge into new regions.
Support for wounded service members.
Join Team Citi and let's turn a world of potential into reality.
Go to citi.com/everystep and help decide where the money goes.
We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience, to the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down. We have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth, and we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
To the second hour of Right Side Patriots on CPR Worldwide Media with our special guest, Jim Garrow.
We, the people.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot. I got it right this time. And Diane Sorey from the Patriot Factor. Diane, we are thrilled to have back with us on the air Dr. Jim Garrow, 40-some-odd years working with the Alphabets as a special operative. And it's as good a chance as any for us to say hello to all the Alphabets that are listening today.
Hi, guys, especially the CIA. Hi.
Hi, folks.
Jim, it's great to have you back. Thanks for coming back to the show and being a part of Right Side Patriots today. We really want to talk to you about what's going on with ISIS and what's going on with the Obama regime's abrupt about-face when it comes to their views on ISIS. And Diane, where do you think we even need to start with this? I mean, it's such a mess right now.
Well, I think the first thing we need to start with, and maybe Dr. Garrow can expand upon this, it is ISIS, folks. It is not ISIL. Every time they call it ISIL, they are actually stabbing Israel in the back through the Levant and that whole situation. ISIL is a way of not recognizing Israel. And Obama knows this, and his mouthpieces know this.
Yeah, you'd almost think that he had some sort of feeling toward Israel based in something other than truth and what's good for America.
Really, you think?
Yeah. I'm a keen observer, eh?
Yes. Well, I mean, look, 45 years with the Alphabets, you learned something. You learned to actually state the obvious.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you know, when they're pointing left, you know they don't want it to look right. So when they're pointing up, you know they don't want you to look down. And of course, your focus should always be the other way. So with this guy, I mean, what he's doing is showing that America has no loyalty to anyone except the obvious, which is that he has a particular loyalty and is swaying all America's loyalties in the direction of anything Islamic, anything that would enhance the opportunities for Islam to expand in the world and take power and control in the regions that they're trying to push. So we have, I'm going to say, a traitor, a treasonous traitor in the White House who is looking not for the interests of America, not to protect it from all enemies, whether external or internal. You notice I changed the language somewhat there.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what we're up against. We're up against a man who we never thought we'd see someone come along who is so decidedly un-American and anti-American.
Jim,
Yes.
Diane and I wrote an article. We published it yesterday. And in this article, I mentioned that it seems that, you know, first Obama was, you know, kind of on the side of Al-Qaeda because he was arming Libyan rebels that were Al-Qaeda. He hired Al-Qaeda to guard our embassy and our mission in Benghazi. And then when that kind of fell out of favor, he kind of turned towards the Muslim Brotherhood and installed them as the leaders of Egypt before that fell apart. Now he seems to be throwing in, or for a while there, he was obviously throwing in with the Taliban. Now he's throwing in with ISIS. We know they're all kind of one and the same. He funds Hamas. He won't draw a red line against Iran, so on and so forth. But is this kind of the standard thing that Islamists will do? They will gravitate towards and kind of glom on to whichever group carries the biggest sword.
Well, you'd think that, but you know, the obvious differences between Sunni and Shia are really marked. In fact, the war since way back to the days of the son of Muhammad, that has been the line of demarcation between different groups in Islam. And there is no room for one another. They will, you know, try to commit genocide against those who hold a differing view, even within Islam, until they have a common enemy. And that's when they push together and work together and basically shelve the big difference and say, look, We are we're servants to Allah, and therefore we will work together, put aside those differences to go after the big Satan and the little Satan. So in that regard, I think that what he has done, he has chosen which branch of Islam he will support. And that's what we see when he is sending money. You can know this. Well, if he's sending bombs, it's to one group that he's not supporting. And if he's sending money, it's to the group that he is supporting. But for sure, he is supporting one group of Islam against another group of Islam.
Yes. Now, let me ask you one question. Why the sudden flip-flop of Hagel and Dempsey? Remember, Hagel came out when the beheading of James Foley first happened and said, this is an enemy like we've never seen before, and he wanted to take them out. Dempsey was sitting at the press conference with him, agreeing with everything he said. ISIS needs to go, and we also need to take them out in Syria. Craig, I think I got that same whatever you've got. It came from the Grand Canyon.
It's climate change. It's killing us.
Right.
Yeah, there it is.
So why all of a sudden, here it is, they were gung-ho a few days ago, and now Obama's back in town and they've all switched. Does Obama have something on them that has caused them to switch? Has he told them something that we, the people, obviously don't know about? Or is he and they up to something?
Oh, they're up to something, definitely. They actually spoke truth, which is a rare thing for either one of them. Well, Dempsey has attempted to be truthful, but he's been squashed, and you'll see him replaced very quickly, very soon. Okay. He won't last. But keep in mind that Obama, while he's vacationing, playing golf, he leaves the actual instructing of the leadership of different departments of government, and almost the throwing out of policy statements to the world. He leaves that up to the writing of Valerie Jarrett, and in the background you've got David Axelrod. So between those two, they are writing the script for Obama. I think that what happened is somebody sent the memo, and it lay on the secretary's desk for a while, and it wasn't until they actually got in front of the cameras, the two of them, that they realized, well, they were in one direction, and they should have been going in the other direction. So the next opportunity they had, you got Hagel, basically backtracking because he's been spanked by Valerie. And notice I'm saying by Valerie, not by Obama.
Right.
Okay.
Obama's not, he's so detached. Here I'm going to use the word they're in denial of, but he's detached. You can't focus on your golf score and your bad swing without, leaving something out, like, running the nation.
Well, let me bring something up here because, and this is one of those questions that I don't know if you're going to answer it straight away or if you're going to try and tap dance around it.
Oh, wow.
Well, because look, I know there's certain things you can and certain things you can't get into, but let's talk for a minute about John Brennan. He's heading up the CIA. He is a Muslim convert. We all know that. And Obama just blamed, about 2 weeks ago, blamed the rise of ISIS on bad intel from the intel community. My first question is, and I'm going to have a follow-up on this. Okay, so you're at the press conference, and I'm going to do the standard reporter thing here, because I am a nosy reporter and a threat to national security, just like Diane is. If you were in the agency today and John Brennan took over the agency, would you continue to work for the agency?
I quit in a heartbeat.
Okay,
I quit in a heartbeat.
I thought maybe you'd dance around that a little bit.
No, I wouldn't dance for a second, not on that, because realize this, that we know that the demand of the Islamists and their religion, their ideology, because it's more than just a religion, their political stand is absolute abeyance, absolute loyalty to Allah and nothing else. So for any person who is a Muslim, to take the oath that many people in office have to take, or people in positions of authority vis-a-vis military, police, whatever it might be, they cannot in good conscience actually say it, because they are then subsuming the place of Allah to this oath they've just taken, and they will not do that. So when you've got a guy like Brennan taking an oath to America, promising to do whatever it takes to support the defense against enemies, domestic or foreign, he cannot take it.
Okay, now here's my follow-up question. Obama blamed lack of intel or bad intel on the rise of ISIS and the fact that, well, we just didn't see this coming. What kind of intel would Brennan have had? I mean, I cannot imagine this guy being a Muslim convert and being the head of the CIA and having offices in the nation of Iraq with a diplomatic corps in Erbil. Would he have suffered from a lack of intel?
Well,
regarding ISIS?
Well, according to what I've heard from people who happen to work for different agencies throughout the world, we are right now being dumbed down. Our ability to analyze, to first of all see information, hear information, and pass on information is being dumbed down to the degree that we are almost blind, we're almost deaf, and we're almost dumb when it comes to what is going on in situations where we used to have information gathering ability that was beyond anyone.
Okay, wait a minute, though. You're okay. Let me rephrase the question. Did Brennan know what the hell was going on with ISIS and kept it under wraps?
Yes.
Or did he not know? He's just the latest in a long line of clowns in the circus.
No, he knows. He knows. And if it's not coming through the agency that he heads up, it's coming from fellow Muslims who are telling him what's going on.
So if he knew, Obama knew.
I'm not even, no, I can't even agree with that.
Would Valerie Jarrett have known?
Yes. But don't expect that what Valerie knows gets passed on to Obama. You have to understand how completely the nation is run by a woman who's never been vetted, who happens to be herself a Marxist, happens to be from what country did you say she was from?
She would be from Iran. She was born of American parents, but was born in the country of Iran.
Yes. Now, where her loyalties lie, again, are really not with America itself. It's whatever advantage she can get, and she can market that advantage to whatever group she's trying to sell it to. This woman is the worst thing that I've ever heard of or ever seen or ever run into in my entire life.
Now, I know Diane's itching to get a question in here, but I just got to tell you folks, do you have any idea at all how nerve-wracking it is to be grilling a guy who worked for the agency for 40-some years?
He could be coming for us when it's all done.
I'm telling you what.
But I think people also need to focus on ISIS, as we all know, is not happy with their little part of the world. And they're going to expand, and they want to come here. I mean, they actually said the flag of Allah will be flying over the White House, and knowing Obama, he'll be there pulling it up on the flagpole. But seriously, what their main goal right now, Craig and I believe, is heading into Pakistan. ISIS is already in Pakistan. I wrote an op-ed a few days ago on that. If they get enough people there, they can topple the Pakistani government, and when they do that, they get control of nuclear weapons. Are we right?
You're right. Is that scary?
Yes.
How susceptible is Pakistan to being toppled from within that way?
All of them are. All of them are.
All of them are.
Meaning any country that is Muslim. The ability to topple is a bullet away from the brain of whatever leader happens to be in power at that point in time. And all it takes is a guard, for example, to do someone in, Musharraf, whoever it might be, you know that they are just lying in wait The Shia are ready to wipe out the Sunni are getting ready to wipe out the Shia, and of course the Sunni are the largest group in the Muslim world, but the Shia are probably the most vicious, and you cannot cross them.
And what about the Wahhabis, the ones in Saudi Arabia? Where do they align exactly? Is it with the Sunni or with the Shia?
Well, I'm going to say this, that they align politically with whatever works for them. They're the shrewdest. They're the shrewdest. They don't just go, because the son-in-law of the prophet, in someone's mind should have been, the lineage passing on the mantle of the prophet. That is not where they're at. They are very much into political control and the use of all the levers of control, like money or power or influence. That's what they are. So they're smart, and they're the ones to fear, the Wahhabis, because after all, who bought Obama?
Well, good point.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. And another thing, I have been calling all over Facebook, whatever, that we need to go and shock and awe the hell out of the Middle East, carpet bomb them from top to bottom, because if we don't do it to them, they will be doing it to us. And here we have Obama saying, I'm not putting boots on the ground, not understanding that we do not need boots on the ground. We just need to shock and awe and blow them back to the 7th century from which they came. Now, I believe, and Craig believes, the reason Obama doesn't want to do this is because he doesn't want to kill his own people.
Amen. You got it. That's it. You nailed it right on.
Okay, great.
Now, let me ask you about Jordan, because in the article that Diane and I co-wrote yesterday, published in both of our blogs, we talk a lot about Jordan and the fact that it looks like ISIS is poised for literally an invasion of Jordan.
Well, you know that the king of Jordan, now the king, of course, since his father died, but he's basically an American.
Right. Yes, and so is his wife.
And so is his wife, exactly. So the view of how people should be treated, how a nation should be ran, and how rights and the rule of law should be respected, have made Jordan a very unique place in all of the East. It's probably the only Muslim country that works very much like America. Now, what that's done, though, is put a huge target on that man's family, himself and his family. So, again, how he has managed to stay alive, I really don't know.
Abdullah has thrown in with the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. He's no friend of Israel.
Wait. Let's talk about that for quickly, because as you say that, realize that a politically astute person always realizes that the position of influence is almost greater than the position of power. He knows the influence that the Muslim Brotherhood now has, courtesy of Obama, all over the East. So he's not going to put the red flag in front of the bull and have them trample over him. He's not going to do it. So for him to throw out almost a loyalty oath to certain groups is just good politics.
Well, and you've got Hamas and the Brotherhood at odds with ISIS, and ISIS is saying we're going to invade Jordan, and we're going to take Jordan, and we're going to do away with the king because he's in with the Brotherhood and the Hamas terrorists.
And another thing, this whole Middle East situation with the Palestinians and Israel could be solved with a swipe of Abdullah's pen, because the Palestinians hold Jordanian citizenship. They travel on Jordanian passports, yet he is denying them Jordan. I mean, Craig and I did another op-ed where we came up with a solution that if he gave up a certain part of Jordan to make another state, remember, Jordan is comprised of a certain amount of so-called states that make up their country. Have another one, have the Palestinian people there. They're already Jordanian citizens. They were already traveling on Jordanian passports, and yet he refuses to do it. He could end a lot of the problems in the Middle East, yet he refuses to do it.
Well, it would be like giving purebred status to a mongrel. That would be what he would be doing if he recognized the riffraff that are calling themselves Palestinians. And really what they are is just the nomads who wouldn't fit anywhere.
Yes, but better Israel take them all in, better Israel, tiny little sliver of a land, Israel, give up more land for these animals? No. They're genetically Jordanians. They are Jordanians by their ancestry.
Well, they're a mishmash, from all over. So, and there is no Palestine. Like there is nothing. It's a made-up concept.
Yes.
1968. It fit the British need at the time, and so they created this mongrel. They gave it a name, and so they call it Palestine as an area and Palestinians as a group. But there's nothing there. It's hot air. It's just the disaffected Muslims who wouldn't fit anywhere else, and normally they'd be killed. Normally they would just be put out of their misery. So. But what has happened is with the United Nations intervention and with silliness, well, it's not silliness, with treasonous actions like Mr. Obama has taken by pouring money to Al-Qaeda, to the Muslim Brotherhood, to these groups, and be sure that when it gets down to it, the Shia groups are the ones that are now getting funding through the back door. And
well, let me. We've got about 3 minutes left in this segment, and Dr. Jim Garrow is our guest today, and we're going to ask Jim to stay over with us into the next segment as well. But let me ask you, as we wrap up this segment, all of this that we're seeing in the Middle East, all of this chaos that we're seeing in the Middle East, and with ISIS and Hamas, and you name the group, you name the location, all of this seems to be orchestrated specifically to build and expand the caliphate. Who is orchestrating this? Is this being orchestrated via Obama through Valerie Jarrett? Is she the real real orchestra director here, or is this Obama's caliphate? We called it Obama's caliphate.
Oh, is that what you called it in your article?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in a sense, it is an aided process. The creation of the caliphate and looking to the leader, the caliph, to come, the Mahdi, the 12th, to be on the scene. And of course, that's the 12th since the prophet, right? If in fact there's someone to blame, I would say, let's blame Obama for his interference, but let's keep in mind the support of Shia Muslims everywhere. When you know that the populations of Iran and Iraq are the most significant Shia populations around, you got minorities in like Bahrain and Syria, Lebanon and Yemen, but you can be sure of this: the Shia Muslims in the four that I just named, they are headed toward massacring the leadership in each of their countries. That's where they're going. That's what they want.
Does Obama want to be the last man standing?
He really
the last caliph standing?
He would really like to be, but he's getting pretty nervous because the American people are standing up. He's hearing that. He's hearing what's going on. He knows that meetings like I was having are happening everywhere. And, I'm just a little dude. But there are other dudes out there who are having significant opportunities to speak and tell truth to the American public. And the American public are headed toward the day where they're going to say no more, and they're going to do it with guns in their hands. And, who would have ever thought that we would come to it? But, the Founding Fathers said if a tyranny ever happens, it is our responsibility to overthrow it.
Folks, we're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, more with Dr. Jim Garrow, and we're going to bring the conversation to what happens here at home regarding ISIS. And this is going to be a fascinating part of this conversation. First, we're going to take a quick break. word from our sponsors, our good friends at Citizens United, and Diane and I will be back after this.
Why do cities shine so bright? It's the glow of opportunities, of ideas bouncing off one another, of countless people, every one of us, striving to succeed. Right now, in cities everywhere, ideas are being born. New thinking that will put us in awe of what people are capable of. That's what lights cities up. And helping people and their ideas to burn even brighter, so that communities, businesses, and you and I can grow. What if a bank made that its job? For more than 200 years, Citi's job has been to help empower people and business. Now, around the world, it's wherever people gather, wherever ideas come alive. It's wherever you are. The world's city.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. With every move he makes, another chance he takes, odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man, they've given you a number and taken away your name. Beware of pretty faces that you find. A pretty face can hide an evil mind. Oh, be careful what you say, or you give yourself away. Odds are you won't live to see tomorrow. Secret Asian man, secret Asian man, they've given you a number and taken away your name. Giving you a number and taking away your name. Swinging on the Riviera one day, and then laying in the Bombay alley next day. I know you let the wrong word slip, kissing persuasive lips. The odds are you won't live to see tomorrow. Secret Asian man, secret Asian man, they've given you a number and taken away your name.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot with Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. And Diane, we are proud to have with us again today a guy who's really become a good friend of the show, Dr. Jim Garrow, 45 years with the Alphabets as an operative and filling us in on things we need to know and our listeners need to know about ISIS. And Jim, if it's happening over there, it's got to be coming over here.
Amen to that.
Yes.
We can take that one to the bank.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think the man in the White House is doing by not defending our border? He's saying to the world, saying to the Muslim world, "Come on in, do what you've got to do."
And did you hear Jerry? I believe it's Jerry Brown, the California governor's ridiculous statement today. We welcome the illegals into California. I mean, it is getting ridiculous, and our borders need to be sealed, but they will use every excuse not to seal them, and that is because the man in the White House wants these people in here. Not just the poor immigrants, the poor illegals, the poor criminals, because that's what they are by coming here illegally from South America, but coming through our borders are the likes of ISIS, and he doesn't care.
Jim, they've found prayer rugs, they found Qurans, they found Urdu to English dictionaries strewn along the border, things that have been dropped, left behind along the border. And Urdu is a language that primarily comes from Pakistan and a little bit of Afghanistan. But, do you by any chance, do you speak Urdu?
No, I don't.
Okay,
but thanks for asking.
Well, I know you're a man of many languages, and it just dawned on me. I thought maybe you actually spoke it. But because I know you do Chinese.
Yes.
I just ordered the number 4 special.
I just ordered number 3, frankly.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, we see this stuff along the border. We're not waiting for them to come across the border. They're already here. That's
they're here by the thousands. Yeah, by the thousands. Yeah, and we're not talking insignificant numbers. We're talking about highly trained mercenaries on behalf of their own notion of who should be dominant in the world. And so they're coming across fully trained, fully armed. That's the other thing. People are missing this whole thing of the armament, but they're coming across with some of the most sophisticated ability to take down aircraft that we've ever seen.
Yeah, you bring that up, and I've heard about surface to air, the shoulder fired, the easily transportable, not the ones on the trucks, but not like a SAM missile, but a shoulder fired type situation being brought towards the United States, coming towards our southern border. Are they already here? Some people say they're here. Some people say they're not. Is this something we got to be aware of? Is this something we got to be worried about?
Well, when you know that as far away as Wyoming, now catch that one, Wyoming. Now, how far from the border is Wyoming? And I don't mean the Canadian border, I mean Mexico.
Yeah, it's a good almost 1,000 miles.
Okay, one of our folks has seen a radar locking style of missile, shoulder fired, all the way up to Wyoming.
Wow.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not a good thing.
I would suggest you're right.
Okay.
And these weapons that they're bringing in, where do you believe these weapons are coming from?
Meaning coming from where?
Meaning who is supplying ISIS with these weapons?
Well, it would be Russia. But I thought when you said where are they coming from, I thought you meant where are they actually being shipped from, as in where does the aircraft take off?
Well, both. Okay. It encompasses both. Where are these aircrafts coming from that are bringing these people, and who is actually supplying these weapons to them?
Are they coming from the Middle East? Are they coming from Europe? Where are they coming from?
Well, they're coming actually from Europe. They're not coming from the Middle East. And so they're flying into Mexico. They're flying into Mexico City, 747s, Acapulco. They're landing in other areas of South America and putting out jihadis there. The effort to bring together jihadis from all sorts of stripes, from all sorts of areas. For example, you mentioned Pakistan, Afghanistan, the speakers of that particular language, but also other people groups that are, would normally never be seen together, but clumps of them, like dozens here, dozens there, of people who speak their own languages, are being deposited all across America and Central America and even down into South America. So this is organized. This is well thought out. It's a plan to take over the hemisphere.
Is Obama's hand in this plan, or Valerie Jarrett's? Are they helping to orchestrate this invasion of our country by these barbarians?
Well, if I took the guards away from the towers that should be guarding our border, would you consider that to be complicit?
Absolutely. We just want that known. We just want that known. Craig and I say it all the time, but you have the credibility. When you say it, maybe people will wake up.
Well, I hope they do, because this is an act that is actively, aggressively, and egregiously undermining American sovereignty and security. So his oath is meaningless, and he's broken the oath. There's so many in government service at the moment who should be in shackles. And we need to start, and this is what I've been encouraging people over the last couple of days, we need to go into our local sheriffs and swear out complaints and point the finger at specific people who are supporting Obama and what he's doing. Find out what statements have been made, what actions have been taken by your local representatives, whether it be on the state level in the legislature of the state or the Senate of the state, or it's the National Senate or the National House. Swear these complaints. Have the sheriffs investigate the complaints, and if the complaint is found to be truthful and it is a breach of law, have him arrest them.
But will they do it? That's the thing. Will they do it?
Well, when we see the first one in front of the television cameras, when it happens, I'm telling you right now, steel will suddenly snap into the spine of all sorts of people across the nation. I'm hoping that Joe Arpaio is the one to do it to begin with.
Yes, well, that would be great.
I'm hoping so too, and I'd love to get Sheriff Joe Arpaio on the show and find out, or Mike Zullo, for that matter, either one of them, find out where that investigation is at this point. But let's keep focused on ISIS here and the threat. Now, we're hearing September 11th. Of course, we hear September 11th every year because of what happened in 2001, and we've seen other. Like the Benghazi thing, that all, transpired, September 11th. So we know that's an important date, and we know that the Islamists like to, have their little anniversary parties, let's say, the most despicable parties ever thrown. But how imminent is the threat right now to Americans on American soil from Islamic terrorism?
Well, let me just say this.
Here comes the tap dance, folks. I knew it.
No, actually, it's not. I'm going to say this to you. How important is symbology to exactly
to the Islamist? Very. And I was just thinking that. I'm trying to run through my head important dates, months in Islamic theology.
So the Gates of Vienna was a huge defeat on September 11th.
Yes.
Right? We know that. So
yes.
September 11th, that's the reason for the attacks. And what is the worst number for our side of the world? Which is the bad luck number?
13.
How many years has it been since 2001?
13.
13.
Ah.
Wow.
I did that without Common Core, by the way.
So did I.
Yeah. And
okay.
I'm not even suggesting that that's going to be the date for an attack. I'm just suggesting to you that, I just asked you questions. Is symbology important? It absolutely is.
Yes, especially to those people, because their whole way of thinking, to some degree, is based on symbology.
Yes.
All right, so this takes us back to what we were talking about in the previous segment of Right Side Patriots. If the threat is imminent, and I'm assuming that you're saying it is because you know things that other people don't, and you're making us answer the questions that we're asking you, and that's a typical, I'm being had here, folks. But I'm assuming that you're thinking the threat is imminent. And if that is the case, then let's go back to that quick about face that the regime did regarding ISIS. I mean, on one day, Dempsey and Hagel and Ketchup Boy John Kerry were all saying that this is a threat to the United States, to the Western world, and this is something we have to take seriously because we've never seen anything like this. This is barbaric, so on and so forth. Then the very next day, all three of them backed off on it. So if the threat is imminent, why'd they back off? Jim?
Oh, sorry. I got distracted there. I was just writing a note to my wife who just came in.
Oh, okay. So if the threat is so imminent, why did the regime back off so quickly the other day? Why aren't they saying we got to, they're feeling up people's junk at the airport, but I don't see this coming from another airborne attack like we had 13 years ago. So why aren't they taking this seriously at the White House?
Well, you know that a little while ago, just a few days ago, I announced that we had seen through facial recognition software and its use, one of the 5 of the worst who were released, supposedly incarcerated in Qatar, but those 5 leaders of the jihadi movement were released. Supposedly, and this is a fraud, by the way, it was as a trade for Bergdahl. It wasn't. These people were released a week ahead. The Bergdahl thing was a big cover to cover what they did because they didn't put it through either the Senate or the House. I mean, they didn't share it with the leadership of the country.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And as a result, the expenditure of money was a violation of law. So, and that's what they've been told since. But nobody's doing anything. Nobody's going in and arresting the people who breached the law. So knowing that these people are flooding across the border and that they're headed for malls, we have a list of 103. I've provided it to people in authority. But we know that they're going to go after malls. If you know that, and you know the people who are doing it, why are we not arresting them?
The malls are soft targets. Malls are soft targets. They're not well guarded. I mean, we've all seen Paul Blart, Mall Cop. There's virtually no security against anything like this in the United States shopping malls. And we have some very big malls. But are you talking about a coordinated attack, many malls all at the same time, or are you talking about hopscotching here?
I'm talking about a coordinated attack. And with the coordination, and this is why the specific instance that we know with respect to having shoulder-fired missiles that lock on through radar, we're talking about a massive attack on American innocents everywhere across the nation. One will lead to the other. We'll be looking at mall attacks, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of aircraft will be attacked all at the same time.
You just said the operative word there. You said American innocence. Think about it, folks. Who goes to malls? Women and children. They're out to kill America's children also. That will tug at the heartstrings of America. I mean, think about it. You go into a mall, you go shopping during the day. Who do you see? You see women pushing baby carriages. You see kids cutting school. You see women and children. That's who's going to be killed in these mall attacks.
Can I remind you of something that happened historically that showed leadership at its finest in America? Do you remember when it was just before Mr. Reagan came to power? He sent word to the Islamists through Canada. I know because I placed the letter in the hand of the gentleman. So I'm not going to name these folks, but here's the point. He warned these folks in Iran that if the hostages were not released before he signed on as president, he would nuke Mecca.
Yes.
They knew he meant it. They knew he could do it. And they knew that they were up against the wall, because it wouldn't matter. The blame would fall on Reagan. The world would look at the group and the particular group that, the faction of Islam that caused this to happen. And if you remember, Ahmadinejad stood there on the steps while they were being released.
Right.
He stood to make sure that his picture was shown to the world, that he was one of them.
Yes. And you brought up another very interesting point about the trade that was done. Normally when you trade prisoners, you have one side standing on one side of a line and you have another side standing on another side of a line, and you actually trade them. You're right, that wasn't done. Those 5 were traded a week before, and Bo Bergdahl was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, if not the insult to all of America, because
exactly.
Where
an
was
American trader, trader, absolutely.
So what we get for it is a traitor. They get some of their finest leaders.
And those leaders are out there killing again. Yes. It's...
Jim, we got 4 minutes left here, and I'm going to ask a question. And this always happens. This always happens when we have Dr. Jim Garrow as our guest. I feel like I'm giving up more of what I know when I'm asking him questions than he's giving up what he knows.
We need him on for a whole show.
But let me ask this as kind of a final question here for me today. We talk about these 747s that are flying into Mexico City. They're coming from Europe. They're carrying weapons. They're also carrying the people that will use those weapons. Why is Mexico allowing this to come in through their country? And number 2, do we have to be looking for a lost Malaysian airliner in all of this?
No, don't even worry about that. Ask Tom McInerney. He knows. It's in Pakistan. It may show up again, as he said once, I think.
In Israel.
But I don't think we have to worry about it here. The fact that it survived, we know that. We announced that right away.
Okay, but why is Mexico allowing all of this to come in through their airports and through their country? What the hell is going on there?
Well, that is a really good question. What do they stand to lose if they don't cooperate with Islam?
Well, they don't have a lot down there to begin with.
Money.
Well,
money.
The tequila industry?
It all boils down to money.
Money. Yep.
Are the cartels helping them?
Well, that is a great question. Now you hit a home run. That's a home run question. Yes, the cartels are very afraid that the jihadis would come in and really upset their apple cart, which they could do. And so they're getting maximum cooperation from the cartels, bringing their people across the border.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions in here in the last couple of minutes. If the cartels are helping them, and I thought they were, are we going to start seeing more of the fast and furious weapons in this country in the hands of jihadis?
Isn't that a natural?
Yes. That sort of, seems obvious. If they're helping them, they're going to be coming in here with those weapons. Absolutely.
I had to ask. I had to take it there because Fast and Furious, we mentioned it at the top of the show, is back in the news because now Holder is supposed to be delivering all the documents, both privileged and unprivileged, to the House committee. And, we're going to find, I think, if those are literally handed over, if they ever have a chance to see them, I think what we're going to find there is cartel members who have direct connections to Islamic terror.
If you were a cartel member, would you accept pesos, American dollars, or gold?
Probably gold.
I'll go with C.
Gold.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what's going on.
I knew it was money. Mexico, being in the state, the economic state that it's in, it will do anything for money. It will do anything for money. And this is scary, folks. This is scary. We have a president who is not stopping it, who is not sealing our borders, who is basically letting these people in. They're here already, folks. You need to be scared.
I'll tell you, it's a mess. Folks, we're out of time. Jim, I want to thank you for coming back on the show. Diane and I are always thrilled to have you as part of Right Side Patriots, because we know we're going to get to the bottom of some stuff, and people are going to hear things that are just going to make them go, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I hate to
and
be
they
that
don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, but they need to hear it.
And I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but you know what? I'm not going to lie to you.
No, look, and that's why we have you on the show, because we know you're going to tell us what's really going on. You're going to be straight up, and if you can't answer, you can't answer the question. We understand that. But it's not that you're the bearer of bad news, it's you're the bearer of truth.
Yes.
And that's why we always enjoy it when you're on the show. Folks, we're going to have to go. If you missed any part of the show, any part of the interview with Dr. Jim Garrow, we will rebroadcast this tonight at midnight Eastern Time, and again on Saturday following the Right Side Patriots live show at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Dr. Jim Garrow, thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks for having me on. God bless you, and God bless America.
And to you, Jim. Diane, we've come to the end of the show. How about that? Fast 2 hours,
I know.
huh?
That was fast, but I guarantee we'll have Jim Garrow back again, because he needs to get that truth out. Not just him, but we do. We need to wake up this country.
That's why we have him on, folks. Time to wake up, time to start paying attention. We'll be back on Saturday with a live show from 11 to 1 Eastern. Diane, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Go find a network wants to treat me right. Y'all can take the change and stick it out of sight. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our country. Well, it used to be easy, get a place, build a house. Now the EPA said no, that's the home of the blue mouse. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. We're gonna use some common sense and we're gonna take back our country. Well, they've beaten to death that pole race horse. This politically correct thing has run its course. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Some good news, we're gonna take back our country. Woo! Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and Bing, lots of divorces from showing them bangs. Why don't you mind your own business? That's good advice. Mind your own business. Dad got it right. But if you mind your business, then you won't be minding mine. Every sign says for sale, for lease, price reduced, make an offer, please. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our
head to Chicago. Take your teleprompter with you so you'll know where to go. So move it all over